Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Hal Lewis, for being here with us today in the Who Am I group. And this group is all about personal values. And the way we get people to unleash their personal values is by bringing people, experts like Hal, so they can benefit with these things and see what you can find that can enhance your circumstances. Today we bring Hal Lewis, and Hal Lewis is an expert in, well, he'll let you know. It could be marijuana, it could be CBDs. I'm not sure how we call this, but let's start with an intro and a video that I'm going to share with you to introduce our guest today. We have it ready. I think we have it ready, okay. Let me see, we're ready to share. How you doing, Hal, today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you for having me here.
It's our pleasure. We want to know a lot about this because we're like naked in front of this topic. We know nothing. Probably some people know how to use it, but we want to see its real benefits, okay? That was amazing. Good job with that video. Now, what is Leaf of Life Wellness exactly?
Yeah, Leaf of Life Wellness is a name that I came up with when I was first engineering and formulating products. We got our start back in 1978. And the reason I started formulating was out of a necessity. My mom and dad both were struck with cancer when I was 18 years old, so between 16 and 18. And we lived in Los Angeles. I grew up around Hollywood. I grew up around people that used to smoke, weed all the time. And it was told to me that it would help them with their nauseousness and everything else after chemo and after radiation. And I tried to get my parents to smoke weed every day that they went for treatments, and they wouldn't do it. My parents were of that generation that they said, there's no way we're going to smoke pot. There's no way. So I looked at different recipes, and I found 16 essential oils and a couple different carrier oils to help with pain and inflammation. And I added back then cannabis to it, and it took their pain level from a 12 and 14 down to a 4 and 5. And they told their friends about it. Their friends were up in age. Their friends would have arthritis. They'd try it. They'd love it. And Leaf of Life Wellness was born. You know, our first thing was our topical lotion, our topical balm. And from there, it's gone ever since.
How do you find out that that product had something to do with pain?
I studied, you know, when I was in high school and junior college, I was studying biology. I was studying chemistry. I would know, and I was studying the old recipes up in a place called the Emerald Triangle, where it used to, that's the area in California where the best marijuana or best cannabis is grown. And I would look at some of the elders up there, some of the people that have been doing it for 30, 40, 50 years, and ask them, what do you use for pain? Also, there's a story, and it's very true, that in the old days, in the Mexican philosophy, the old caballeros, the old cowboys, used to ride the horses all day long. And the grandmother used to take the stuff in the jar and rub it on the horse's ligament and then rub it on the cowboy to get rid of the pain. What was in that was alcohol and marijuana leaves. It was the cannabis plant. So it's been passed generation to generation. Medical marijuana is nothing new. I mean, it's been around for over 5,000 years. It was first used in Eastern medicine. We have scientific proof that 5,000 years ago, it was used as a medicine in the Eastern philosophy and Eastern medicine. You know, so we have to look at this and we have to go, well, plants are medicine naturally. This is a plant that has marijuana, cannabis has over 113 different cannabinoids in it. Cannabinoids are what actually help with different problems of the body because we have an endocannabinoid system. I won't try to geek out science-wise to you, but all I can say is the more research we do, the more we're finding out how this plant can help people medically, besides this plant being one for fuel, fiber, and food.
Now, you're saying that 5,000 years is a long time to be in a market where society still, or governments, they still don't approve fully of this. And why is the problem? What's the incompatibility between approving this and not, and back and forth? Now, many states are doing so, but not 100%, right? So what's the problem with this?
Yeah, and hopefully I heard the question right, because your volume's a little low. I apologize. But, you know, the problem is right now, what's happening out there is big pharmaceutical companies really do not want to legalize this plant until they have all their ducks in a row, all the patents on it, and so they could control it as medicine and sell it as medicine through the pharmacies. States have opened up. I remember I remember back in Westwood, California, back in the late 70s, fighting to make sure we got it on the ballot to help people with AIDS, because it helped them so much. It gave them an appetite, it allowed them to eat. And we just wanted to give this medicine to people. It took quite a long time to get it legalized in the state of California. First, SB 420, Prop 215 SB 420, which allowed nonprofit mutual benefit corporations, collectives, and cooperatives to make an organization that was nonprofit to help other patients, and everybody had to contribute to that philosophy. From there, we tried to legalize it. Now we're in California, we're in Prop 64, which has turned out to be, I'm going to say honestly, I fought for Prop 64 with Governor Gavin Newsom, but Prop 64 became right now more of a burden to patients than anything else. And the reason I say that is because it is taxed so much. The black market is still thriving because it is cheaper to purchase it through the black market than it is through a regulated format. They've got to revamp that whole situation. But you're not allowed to bring, you know, marijuana or cannabis across state lines. There's certain rules and regulations. Each state's different. Some states, if you're caught with marijuana, you could still do federal time. It's a felony. It's a felony in that state. and you're going to be locked up for a felony, not just a misdemeanor, not just a slap on the wrist.
Are you talking about places where it's legal also?
No, places where it's legal, like California. The one thing we did with Prop 64 is we made it where it was a slap on the wrist the first time. So if you had a dispensary that wasn't fully legal, wasn't licensed properly, you got a slap on the wrist and you were told to shut down. The second time you'd get a large fine. The third time you could go to jail. Same thing with cultivators. Cultivators, it was a slap on the wrist if you were not a licensed cultivator. So licensed states do have problems with people in the black market, but unlicensed states.
Black market meaning drug dealers?
Yeah, well, drug dealers, yeah. I mean, entrepreneurs. I hate to call them drug dealers because sometimes somebody's growing weed in their backyard, and they're growing it just to help their grandmother who has glaucoma or has cancer. And in a state where it's not legal, that person growing it in their backyard could go to prison for a very long time.
Under what charges?
Under cultivation, because if it's illegal in this, like California, it's legal to grow up until 6 plants. Okay, right now. But certain states, it's illegal to cultivate. Not every state is legalized for marijuana. So if you're in a state that's not legal and you're growing marijuana in your backyard for a relative or for your grandmother that may be sick, you can go to jail for that. That's how idiotic the laws are from one state to the next. Hopefully, and I hate to get into politics, but hopefully whoever the next president is will really figure this out and finally say, enough's enough. We don't need to lock up the low-hanging fruit anymore. We need to realize that this plant has been around. We need to do the research on it. We need to see what this plant does. Israel's fantastic right now for research. I have many scientists, doctors, and friends in Israel that I contact on a weekly basis, and we talk about cannabinoid therapy. We talk about CBD, CBG, CBN, all the different cannabinoids and what they're being found to help with. So that way my products could be the state of the art out there.
Yeah, I think it's all a matter of, it's a little bit of a political issue because you said they can't control, because there may be many people in the world out there that have their own plantations of marijuana and they can't control or tax that, and that becomes a problem, like something like the Bitcoin type right now. But I think, how about the governments? Do governments have their own plantations of marijuanas?
Yeah, well, the government does. The government allows certain schools to grow marijuana for research. In Kentucky is one of them. San Diego's another one. This is for research purposes only that the government is funding that under different grants. Again, it's not in every state. The law has to be fair for everybody across all states when you're talking about medical marijuana. If I'm we used to call them medical marijuana refugees. Charlotte's Web, a beautiful little girl who suffered from epileptic seizures. Chaz Hayes, all these people I used to know back in the day, these were kids that had to move to Colorado to be able to get medical marijuana to help their symptoms. No state, nobody should be denied if a plant works and can help and benefit you. No one should be denied that plant if it's not going to kill you. No one has ever died yet, and I will say the word yet, from marijuana. Okay? You smoke too much or you eat too much edibles or whatever you do, you come down from it.
There's no overdose.
No, what they call an overdose is if you get too high, sometimes you get paranoid. So you're all of a sudden you think, you get very nervous, anxious because you're like, I'm not in control anymore. It's like people ask me all the time, do I smoke? No. I smoke occasionally. And when I say occasionally, it's maybe once every couple weeks, if that. I'll ingest cannabis and I'll vaporize it at night if I can't sleep, to help me get to bed. I'll use it.
Sleep? It helps
Yeah,
you sleep.
100%.
Really?
For me, it does. It depends upon the terpenes in that cannabis too. We were talking earlier about terpenes. You know, if it's a more sedative type of terpene in that, yeah, it will sedate me. If it's more the opposite, then I'll want to clean the house all night.
Okay, so there's a lot of different terms in this industry. For example, what is a hemp?
Yeah, okay. And that's great. Thank you for asking that. Hemp has been around since the beginning of time, like marijuana or cannabis. Hemp is part of the cannabis plant. There's cannabis sativa, cannabis indica, and cannabis ruderalis. Okay, hemp is more the cannabis sativa L plant. It is a long, tall, fibrous plant. When Levi's first came out with their jeans were made out of hemp. They were not made out of cotton. When hemp became illegal in the United States, they had to turn to cotton. Hemp lasts longer than cotton. It grows faster than cotton. It lasts long. I mean, hemp paper. One of the reasons why marijuana became illegal was not because of the drug side of it. It was because of the industrial side of it. Hearst Corporation in California, Hearst owned all the lumber yards and all the paper mills to make paper for the newspapers. Mm-hmm. It came out that hemp, you can make paper a lot faster. You could grow the plant a lot faster. It's a lot more durable. It doesn't cost as much to grow. But since Hearst owned all this lumber property and all this forest for trees for paper mills, he was like, we've got to make this illegal. Henry Ford made a car completely out of hemp. If you go to YouTube and type in Henry Ford hemp vehicle, you'll see it driving out of the factory. You'll see guys with sledgehammers trying to dent the car because the material is so much harder than steel. They couldn't dent the car.
That's hard to think about correlated.
Yeah. So, but the industrial revolution is what made it illegal, because DuPont's a plastic company, and the steel company said, if we allow this product to grow and we allow this product to become part of the industrial revolution, it will take over and we will be out of business. Mm-hmm. So in other words, this is why back in the days of what I'll call reefer madness, all those posters, marijuana is bad. If you smoke it, you're going to end up doing XYZ with XYZ. All this propaganda was put out by the US government to keep it illegal so the industrial side of it would never become legal. Luckily now we have found, and our country was pretty screwed up by this, but we have found that how it could be used for fuel, fiber, food, and most important, medicine. And how the side effects off this is a lot less than anything else out there. There are no known really side effects except for I want to order a large pizza, or there are some people who are allergic to cannabinoids. We're finding out right now, doing more research. They're allergic to cannabis. They don't die from it. It's not like a peanut butter allergy, but they do get a negative effect from it, where they may break out in a rash, or they may not feel good after they ingest it. It's like with any natural medicine, you gotta know what's out there. So the difference between hemp and marijuana, getting back to your question, I'm sorry. Hemp and marijuana is defined by the federal government of the United States as marijuana is above 0.3 THC. THC is what gets you high. Hemp is defined as below 0.3 THC.
Is that what makes it illegal above that number?
Above that number, it is illegal. Below that number, it is fully legal. So I could grow a specific strain that I know that, like Lifter or Gorilla Glue, and breed all the THC out of that plant as being a grower, and making sure that plant falls into the level where it's now hemp. And I have all the other cannabinoids in that plant that I'm able to process it now and put it into my topicals, my tinctures, my bombs.
I think there's also another dilemma from governments to legalize this, because I think the pharmaceutical industry is one of the top money makers in the world. So if you replace it for marijuana products, which are cheaper and actually solve the same issues, the problem is that all the other pharmaceuticals, they produce a lot of counter effects, right? Which get people to consume more of the other products, which it won't happen with the marijuana, in case, because that's solved and doesn't have any counter. Am I wrong?
No, you're right on point. It's all about money. So it's all about big pharma, big tobacco, big alcohol. It's all about money, and they want to keep their money, and they want to make sure that, it's like I used to talk about cancer a lot. I lost my mom and dad, may they both rest in peace, to cancer. And, watching my dad go from 280 pounds down to 90 pounds before he passed away was very hard, was very difficult. I watched him waste away, and he didn't have to waste away. But the drug companies that say you have to do chemotherapy, you have to do radiation, then you have to take this drug and you have to take that drug, they're in the business to sell you more medication.
Right.
That's how they stay alive. That's how the big executives, it's not to heal you, it's not to cure you. It's to put a Band-Aid on that symptom. And so you have to buy another Band-Aid each time.
So if they approve this industry, it will bring down a big share of the other pharmaceutical industry, right?
Correct.
Which
That's
is much less money.
That's the thought. And that was the same thought in hemp, because fuel, fiber, food, the clothing, fuel, biofuel, biodiesel made out of hemp, all this stuff. It's amazing to see out there how this operates. I mean, I actually, and then we'll go over a little book I wrote. I've actually written two now, but I think it's CBD 101, Know the Facts. And I told somebody the reason why I wrote it, and he laughed, and I went, "Why did you?" It was to weed out all the bullshit. Excuse my French. Okay, I hate to cuss, but I'm going to cuss right there. And because you open up your email in the morning, you may have 10 emails from CBD companies: buy our gummies and grow hair.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. These claims, the people are making claims that are just ridiculous out there.
So a lot of lies out there also.
100%. CBD is an ingredient. That's all it is. A cannabinoid is an ingredient. You have to know how to use that ingredient to make the best cake, to make the best souffle. If you're a chef, you want the best ingredients in whatever you make, and you want to know what that ingredient does or will do to your taste buds. I'm that same way with my company, Leaf of Life Wellness. I am that chef that everything I do has a reason behind it. It's just like I made a beard oil. I'm going to send you one for your beard, okay? And I put frankincense in my beard oil. And everybody asks me, why do you put frankincense in a beard oil? Are you old hippie? I go, no, frankincense is an antifungal, antibacterial. So
very often in beards.
Yes, exactly. Especially now that we're wearing a mask,
Yeah.
and your beard is fungus and other stuff gets caught up because of the mask in there. Antifungal, antibacterial.
So what does the product do exactly for the beards?
Huh?
What does the product do exactly for the beard?
It actually helps groom your beard, but it actually helps with any type of bacteria or fungus that may get into your follicles or into your skin of your beard.
You have anything for mouth bacteria?
Inside the mouth?
Yeah.
No, not at this time. A tincture will work. A tinctures, drops. I have one here. This is one that I made for sleep. It's a terpene tincture. But that, when you put it in your mouth, you just swish it around your mouth a little bit. We used to do a CBD beverage. What I called it water until the FDA told me I can't call it water anymore. I have to call it a CBD beverage called Revive. And what it was it had a high content of CBD in there with other minerals, and it would actually help anything in the mouth. It would actually help colitis. It would help a lot of other issues, stomach issues. I've developed a lot of products over the years to help people. I probably have about 150 products in my recipe book. We probably have 20 products now to 27 products on my website.
And you have that team do it for you, or you're the one also that's on the research itself?
Well, I'm on the research itself.
Really?
I'm the guy that's in the lab. This is a still shot of the lab behind me. I'm using it as my fill screen. But yeah, I love being in the lab. I love finding out what is going to help. You know, it's when I met your wife at GrowthCon, and I'll never forget, because she told me the story of her fingers and how they hurt. And I said, here, take this balm, try it out. And she goes, well, how much is it? I go, you don't owe me a cent. All I want to know from you is I want to know if it does not work. I do not want to know if it works. I want to know if it does not work. Because if it does...
She became a fan of the product.
She is. She is.
Trust me, a real fan of the product.
Yeah. But the reason why I told her I want to know why it does not work is because if it didn't work for her, I'd find something in my lab that would work for her.
Right.
That's why I love my lab most of all.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Get this video here. Okay, so how would you define cannabinoids? Exactly. What is that? What's the difference between the others?
The cannabinoids?
Yeah.
So, okay, there's 113 cannabinoids that have been now isolated from cannabis and hemp plants. Some of the most frequently known cannabinoids are THC, THCA, THC. THCA does not get you high, but because THC is the acid, you burn the acid off, you heat the THC up, the A goes away, the THC then gets you high. What we use mostly is CBD, CBG, and CBN and CBDA in our mixtures. Those are the cannabinoids we find that work the best. CBD, cannabidiol, CBG, cannabigerol, CBN. All of these have specific things to help you sleep, to help drop pain down, to help with seizures. But they're not good enough alone. I'm going to tell you that point blank. So when you get that ad in your email from a CBD company and says this product is CBD and it will work, kind of look at what the product else has in it. It has to have different essential oils, like my balm that your wife loves and my balm that so many people out there order on a monthly and a daily basis has 16 different essential oils, 4 carrier oils, and CBD, CBG, and CBN. Now, the reason I add the cannabinoids to it, the product would work without the cannabinoids, but it's an analogy one of my friends taught me once, and I love this analogy. It's like going to the San Francisco Symphony, one of the best symphonies around, and you're listening to the music and you're enjoying it. And then all of a sudden, the lights come up a little bit and somebody over the loudspeaker says, and Sir Elton John will join the symphony tonight. And it just made the experience that much better all the way around.
Gotcha.
It brought it all together and made it a magical experience. That's what I can say about cannabinoids. When you add the proper cannabinoids, the proper terpenoids to a mixture, to a formula specifically designed to help somebody, you will find that synchronicity, that, wow, it works.
Now, let's say there's a patient here that has a lot of pain and starts using your creams and it's really working, right?
Mhm.
Would you recommend anyone ever not to overuse that, or they can feel free to use it as much as they need?
They can feel,
Continue.
yeah, they can feel free to use it as much as they want. All of our products are THC free. So you're not going to have any THC in them at all. Okay. We make sure we take out the THC because you don't need the THC. In the old days, everybody thought a little THC is good. Well, a little salt's good, except if I have high blood pressure, then salt's not good at all.
Right.
THC does not really, CBD, CBG, and CBN helps with inflammation, number one. So those are the things that you really want to look at, and everything else. No, you cannot use the product too much. If the product is working less on you, let's say it was bringing your pain down from a 10 down to a 3, but you've been using it for 6 months and all of a sudden your pain's at a 6. The first thing I want you to do is always check with your doctor, because I'm not a doctor. Okay, check with your doctor. Make sure nothing else is going on. You know, what caused that pain in the first place? We want to know, because that's important. But we also want to know why that pain level's gone up a little bit. Then I would suggest take a break for a couple of days from the balm, okay, and then retry it and see if it brings it down more, because your body can get used to things, just like it can get used to a prescription drug.
That's for anything, actually.
That's for
Not
anything.
this product.
Yeah, that's for anything.
But there's no such a thing as an overdose of using the cream.
No, it's using a topical, not at all.
How about being in touch with that odor all the time, smelling that? How about smelling that cream all the time?
No,
Anything?
no side effect on it at all.
How about what are the terpenes?
Yeah, so terpenes are aromatic compounds that are found in most plants in nature. I want to say almost all plants in nature, excuse me. Myrcene comes from mangoes. Myrcene, the old joke used to be in the cannabis sector, if you want to get really high, eat a mango before you smoke a joint because it's going to amplify it.
Oh, yeah.
And it actually would, because of the myrcene in the mango, because of the terpene in the mango. That terpene enhances. In my balm, there is, myrcene. It actually helps enhance everything else, all the other plants around it. Luminol comes from grapes. As we know with grapes, if you drink a glass of wine at night, sometimes it acts as a sedative. Those sometimes are the terpenes in the wine, not just the wine itself. Terpenes give you the effect. In the old days, it used to be indica or sativa, what type of marijuana you want, what type of weed you want to smoke. And indica meant in the couch. And sativa meant clean the house, because one brought you down and one brought you up. And what would happen was we found out it wasn't the indica plant or the sativa plant. It was the terpenes that was part of that plant that was giving that effect of being downset, being sedated, or being up and active. So I've done a lot of research on terpenes over the last 10 years. We came out with lozenges 3 years ago. That's on my website. And the lozenges have no CBD, no THC, terpenes only that are found in nature. And they give you the same effect without the high as a cannabis plant will. It will help sedate you. It will help bring you up more artistic. It will help get rid of some, I don't want to make any medical claims, but one of the people that used a lot of my lemon haze terpenes for lemonine was going through breast cancer. And her story was basically she was getting heartburn after her treatments. She'd eat a lozenge before the treatment and she didn't have heartburn afterwards. Now, I'm not going to say that will work for everyone, but the terpenoid that's on that has been known to help heartburn. It's not from cannabis, it's from a lemon. but that terpenoid helps people. It's all the science. I mean, everybody says medical marijuana. It's not just medical marijuana. It's the science behind all plants in nature to bring them all together to have an outcome that's going to help. Not just one thing will help. It's mind, body, soul. That's my philosophy of my company and my philosophy of myself. I mean, if you go to my new YouTube channel, you're going to find videos on there about cooking healthy. Has nothing to do with CBD or marijuana. You're going to find out motivational videos for 2020 because we're all going through something. You're going to find 5-minute meditation videos on my YouTube channel. This is the reason why I'm doing these things, is to give back as a whole. My whole thing why I got in this business was to help people. It was not to make money. I wrestled with making money off, with charging people for this. I had another career up until 5 years ago where I always made topicals for people, but I worked behind the camera in the film industry. And I made a lot of money doing professional films, major motion pictures. My team won the Academy Award for Training Day. We won the Academy Award for the movie The Artist. We won 17 Academy Awards for that movie. The thing is that when I retired out of that industry, people asked me, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm still just going to be retired. I'll make my topicals for people and I'll just give them away. They said, yeah, but when you run out of money, what are you going to do? And the light bulb went on and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And somebody said, sell your topicals. And I wrestled with that fact because I always gave them away. And finally I came to terms with it that I will sell it at the least expensive price I can, with making enough profit off of it to be able to give one away when I sell one. And that's what I've done. I can't hear you.
Sorry. So your YouTube channel is called Leaf of Life Wellness, and I'm going to show a little bit here. Let me see if you tell me if you see anything here. You see anything?
No, I see you started sharing the screen. Technology. I work good in a lab. Technology.
Spectrum Hemp.
Oh yeah, there. Yeah.
There you go. Let's start that.
Cannabinoid products since 1978. As one of the oldest formulators in the industry, we pride ourselves on formulating purpose-driven products that help the needs of the individual, using only the finest organically sourced materials and essential oils. We bring you the finest products in the marketplace. Our products are engineered by nature, third-party lab tested, and always under 0.3% THC, which falls in line with the USDA and FDA standards for the 2018 Farm Bill. At Leaf of Life Wellness, we offer retail, wholesale, private label, and bulk ingredient sales. For more information, please contact us at leafoflifewellness.com.
All right, guys, here is Hal's YouTube channel, which is called Leaf of Life right here. You just have to do his subscribe button. Well, I can't do it right now from the phone, but here it is. We're going to be posting it.
Yeah, the Modern Tiny House is not my channel, by the way. I don't know where that came up. The next video that pops up.
Yeah, the next, don't worry about that.
Yeah, I was like, but I like Modern Tiny Houses, just so we all know. When you go to the channel,
yes,
you know, take that, you know, there's a 5-minute stretching class, 5-minute yoga class for our bodies to move, because this year, 2020 has been so insane. That's all I could say. So harmful for ourselves in so many ways, where a lot of us have just didn't know what to do. We sat at home. We did what we were told to do. We haven't exercised. We haven't worked out. So I did these 5-minute videos with a professional instructor to teach people how just to get moving again, 5 minutes at a time, because this is what I want to give to people. This is my legacy. You know, when somebody said to me when I was a young kid, what do I want to do when I grow up? I said, all I want to do is make people happy. That's all I want to do. I want to help people and I want to make them happy. And so far, knock on wood, I've had a good career of making people happy and helping people.
I think when you're moved by a mission and you establish what your mission is, and that's for everybody. You only have to own a business to be trying to build something in life, build a legacy. When you have that mission, I think that's what pulls and creates every thought that goes through your head is always in the direction of the mission. And I think you are well on your way to that mission and been for many, many years and started thanks to your parents. I think your parents' issues are the ones that made you uncover what your real mission in life was.
Yeah.
I think was the purpose of the whole thing. Now,
Yeah.
from a business standpoint, who would you say is your ideal client?
Oi. This is a trick question for me because everybody's asked me to pick an ideal client and figure it out and really go for that type of clientele. And I did. Last year when I heard that question, I said people that are in between the ages of 40 through 60 that are active but suffer from pain in some form or way. And I started to market towards that niche group, trying to figure out who was my perfect client. But every time I figured out who my perfect client was, I was thrown for a loop because all of a sudden I'd meet somebody at a show that told me that they bought it for the pain balm for their mom or dad. And their mom and dad would be my perfect client. But then all of a sudden they're telling me, you know what? I started using it for myself. I had this ache on my back and it was killing me. And so I used your balm and I got to tell you, I use it after all my workouts now. So when you say who is your perfect client?
Anybody with pain?
Yeah, but everybody slaps.
Is it really about the pain, this whole benefit?
Yes, that's the number one thing. My number one mission was to help relieve pain with non-addicting natural organic plants. That was my mission. Now, there's so much addicting substances out there for people. They start taking Vicodin, they get addicted to it. The doctor pulls it off them, and then you find them, scoring heroin down the street because they want that buzz. That's what happens to these people. And it just it hurt me a lot to see that. And knowing that there's so many plants in nature that help with inflammation, black pepper seed oil, arnica, lemongrass, bergamot, the list goes on and on and on. Tea tree oil, it all helps with skin conditions. And so we look at the science behind the plant and then we add the cannabinoids in there to enhance it. But my number one thing was pain, how to help people relieve their pain.
And what's the source of all pain? Inflammation, right?
Inflammation, yes.
So we would say that this is an anti-inflammatory.
Correct. 100%. It is an anti-inflammatory.
All the products are anti-inflammatory?
Yes. Yeah, my products are an anti-inflammatory.
Now, this is another difficult thing for you to deal with in this type of industry because there's so much people out there in the dark about what this is. And since they ignore the science behind this, all they have left is what they think about marijuana as the misuse of it, right? Of people getting high. So people, I think, must put a lot of obstacles for you saying, no, but like we had some comments before about people understanding this is an excuse or a way to live wrong and using marijuana for other negative purposes. And they ignore what's the science behind it. And I think you're a man of science that had discovered the real nature of these products, because I don't think there's anything in nature that was made by Mother Nature that is going to produce something negative on us. You can have negative uses, but I don't think that's the purpose. I think there's many benefits out of this. So you must have a lot of people like trying to block your way. You must have had it, especially in those years with your students.
Yeah, very, very, very true. In the old days, in the beginning, I had people say, there's marijuana in there. That's going to get people high. That's bad. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to make people addicted. You're a drug dealer. You're this, you're that. And I'm like, no, I'm really not. And this is the facts behind it, you know, the science behind it right now. And you're having to teach people that all the time. You know, I thank the guy upstairs, you know, that we've come to a point with science, and I hope we continue on a science point in this country, is that we've come to a point where we're willing to learn the real science behind plants and behind nature and behind everything. You know, every plant in nature has a purpose. You know, wild weed. You know, my wife is Dr. Shuyan. She's actually an herbal Chinese doctor.
Oh, really?
And it was funny because when she first, after we got married and we moved in and we went for long walks and she gathered at the park, she goes, all these weeds here, they're all good for herbs. They're good for the body. And she brought 2 big bags back. And I'm like, honey, no, they spray those. we got to watch what we eat. We got to watch what we do, you know, but she's an herbologist that really knows her stuff. And it goes back to Chinese medicine. It goes back to Eastern philosophy and Eastern medicine. All these plants, if you have an ailment, there's a plant that can help you. It may not cure you, but it will help. They'll help cure you. It will help guide you down that path. It's just like I always tell people, there's not one medicine out there that I know personally that's going to cure me 100%. It's a whole lifestyle change. It's my diet, what I eat. We talked about it earlier when I said my tincture helps people sleep, right? I developed this terpene tincture to help sleep. It's all based on terpenes. And the thing is, you said, wow, it really helps you sleep? I said, yeah, unless you drink 12 Coca-Colas before you go to bed. If you have 12 soda pops before you go to bed, nothing's going to help you sleep. So
yeah. It's a lifestyle, like you say.
Yeah, it's all a lifestyle. And so that's why Leaf of Life Wellness is a lifestyle brand. It's not, God, I actually figured it out with you. Thank you. Because I never knew, I never called it a brand before. I just called it, it's my baby. But we are a brand, and it's a lifestyle brand to help people. It's to help people get on the right path of being pain-free or reducing their pain so they could get up off the couch. They could walk down the block. They could see the leaves. They could see their grandchildren, hopefully soon, and they could enjoy life again. That's what my mission is. If you want to know my mission,
is there a certain age restriction for the use of these products? Let's say an infant can use it, or they can.
No, an infant can use it. There's a couple great companies out there. Cannakids is one of them. I really respect them. She does a lot of research with people in Israel for tinctures for pediatric cancer. Her daughter Sophie is I think in remission. I'm knocking on wood, but has dealt with tumors, dealt with cancer, and so that's what got her mom into Cannakids and developing different tinctures with Israel to find out what works for pediatrics. There is really no rule of thumb. You're not going to put your child in danger per se. You have to check with your physician. The whole team has to be on board with cannabinoid therapy. You can, if your doctor says no, you cannot go against your doctor, because in different states, your doctor may say, I'm going to turn you in because you are doing something illegal.
Make sure, guys, you find a medical that is compatible with marijuana.
Yes, exactly. And more and more doctors are these days. More and more doctors are open to it. They didn't even teach cannabinoids or anything about the endocannabinoid. We could talk 2 hours on the endocannabinoid system, but we all have an endocannabinoid system and our receptors, and doctors were never really taught about the endocannabinoid system or the cannabinoid receptors in our body to help the healing processes with different diseases. They were taught in Western medicine, this is the disease, this is the solution for the disease, whether it's this pill, or this pill, or this cocktail of drugs, and this is what will cure them. So we'll write a prescription for it. Doctors are not to blame for this. I'm going to say that straight up front. They just didn't know. They didn't have the research here like Israel had or like China had. You know, everybody blames China right now for a lot of stuff. And I got to tell you, Eastern medicine, Chinese medicine, I have books and books that when we get sick or we don't feel good, we look at the Eastern medicine first, the herbs, the mushrooms that are used, you know, all these different things, not just CBD, but everything together for wellness.
I think like the medical industry is like any other, that each person, each doctor has their own research outside what they learn in school, right?
Yes.
Whether they agree or not, it's because they did their own research and they agree or not to this.
100%. But it was voodoo for quite a while for any doctor to even say, I'm going to research it. It was actually illegal for quite a while in the United States for a doctor to research cannabis or marijuana.
Now, when we're talking about attacking pain, do you only have products that apply externally, or there are something you can consume as well?
I actually made a tincture. This one's for sleep. What a tincture is, it comes in a dropper. You put the drops under your tongue. It's a sublingual. You leave it there for count to 10 to 20 seconds, and then you swallow it. Sublingually, it goes in through the receptors under the tongue. For pain, CBG and CBG is really good for pain along with CBD. There's a cocktail mixture that we make in our terpene tincture that's an internal. So I always suggest to people, start with the topical, then go for the tincture. If the tincture is not working for you and you still have pain, call me up. My phone's always open. When somebody calls my office, it rings through my phone, even at midnight. And I answer it usually if I may be half asleep when I answer, but I answer. We have something called Super Drops, which is a small bottle about this big that has 2,000 milligrams. I'm going to show you right here. If you can see that, that has 2,000 milligrams of CBD, CBG, CBN.
Drops?
And that's a drop. You take 2 drops and put it under your tongue. Here, this bottle has 500 milligrams.
Is that faster effect?
It's not faster. It's more, when you say faster effect, the topical will be the fastest to start off. But then following up with this as a regimen will actually help with that pain.
Now, you know, I was going to tell you a case that I know. I have a friend, my friend's wife. She has migraines and had for years and years. And there was no way the doctors find what the problem is, what the source is. The thing continues, and they can't give her anything specific because they don't know exactly what it is. So the only thing that she found that can help is she's smoking marijuana. Mm-hmm. So, and that alleviates, and that's the only thing that she can do because it's a very, very high level of pain. And this is the only thing that does it. But is there anything that you have within your products that will help with migraines?
There is. We developed a product with Balanced Biology, another company out of Colorado, quite a few years ago, and we have the rights to that product, and we'll be putting it out again in the marketplace. It's an actual nasal spray, and we first did it for a fast response for epileptic seizures. But then we found out the nerve that causes migraines and causes epileptic seizures are very close in the center, and it goes right through the nasal passage area. We have found with some, and I'm not a doctor, so I can't say this will work for everyone, but I'd like for her to try it. And so I'll get some for her. Make sure you get me the contact information tomorrow. And we found that it works 9 out of 10 times for people that have migraines. It helps lower the level of pain down. It doesn't take it completely away. Anybody who says something takes it completely away down to 0, I question what's in that product.
Now, I've been with the same issue. I started like a year ago. I started getting these headaches. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if I call it migraine, but I started getting the headaches like every day. And there was nothing. They didn't know what it was. I did exams. nothing. Everything came back positive. So, and I started taking like I went to a neurologist, and I started taking amitriptyline, which is something that blocks the signals of pain.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I was doing is, so I was having them for 9 months, and then I stopped having already like a while ago. But I still have these. They're not that bad, but still gradual pain that come and they're kind of weird. And sometimes they block me like for 2 or 3 days. But
Yeah.
the neurologist said it's not migraine. So I don't know what the hell that is. But maybe, you know, I'm gonna, because I've tried your products too for pain, for body, and they really work.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go for that nasal thing that you have.
Yeah, it's not on the website right now, but what I'll do is I will I'll formulate a couple up, package a couple, and send you a couple. I have no problem in doing that. It'll take me a couple weeks to formulate it back up for you, to make sure all the ingredients are there in the lab.
So speaking about, again, the legal part of this, how many states do you think are legal with this, and how many are not in this country?
For CBD and hemp, I think every state has CBD that's legal in it. A couple states do not allow ingestibles or edibles for CBD. For marijuana, I mean, I'd have to look it up online real quick, but I think half the states, maybe a third to a half the states, have some form of legal, either medical marijuana or recreational marijuana or cannabis. A lot of people hate when you use the word marijuana because it was a derogatory term back in the 30s. It was meant to be dirty. It was meant to be evil and bad. I kind of like the word because it came from the Spanish word marjon, which was marijuana, which was for the old cowboys that used to rub it on their horses and then rub it on themselves in Mexico to get rid of the pain.
Now, but so you're saying it works on animals,
Yeah,
but you also said that it was not tested with animals.
it's not, my products are not tested on animals. Okay.
Okay.
There are products out there that, like, we sell treatables, dog treats on our website. It's not my company. Treatables they're a very reputable company. They're great. They actually, we get response from people who use that product, the dog biscuits, and tell me it helps calm their dog down around the 4th of July, you know, things like that. And so it helps calm them down. You know, when my dog had cancer and was dying, we gave my dog a tincture that we developed for a dog, and he had less pain. You could tell he was in less pain. He had more movement. He was happier, and things of that nature. So there is, you know, for animals, there's 100% medical marijuana for animals out there, medical cannabis. There's cannabis brands, I think Vet CBD and Vet THC is one of them. You can find them in most dispensaries that sell marijuana or sell cannabis. CBD side, there's a lot of CBD manufacturers that have gotten into and will continue to make CBD products for dogs, cats, horses, things of that nature.
Tell me a little bit about the ingredients that are not marijuana or CBDs. What other ingredients do you mix in?
Yeah, so my topical has 16 essential oils: arnica, bergamot, lemongrass, black pepper seed oil, tea tree oil. The list goes on and on and on. It's the reason.
All natural products.
Yes, all natural and all organic. And the reason why we use so many essential oils, I think I said this earlier, it's like going to a symphony. I'm stealing this from a friend of mine who told me this once, and I love the analogy. It's going to the San Francisco Symphony, and it's sitting down and listening to the gorgeous music and being entertained and being taken on this journey. And then all of a sudden, the lights come up a bit, and they say, "And now Sir Elton John will join the symphony." It just made that symphony like, wow, twice as good. It brought it all together.
Mm-hmm.
CBD is a ingredient in a product. It is not a product by itself. I will say that time and time again. So by adding a cannabinoid mixture, CBD, CBG, CBN, in with all the other essential oils, you're bringing it all together in unison to be something that just, wow, it works, and it works great.
So does your company are trying always new ingredients to see what other benefit they can come up with? Are you guys always testing new ingredients?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. I am, anytime I read a new article or I hear of a new cannabinoid or new terpenoid out there, I am looking at everything. I mean, the newest product that's not even on the website yet is my new roll-on that has some secret ingredient. I got one here. There you go. And it has some secret ingredients in it that's on the label, of course. And DMSO is one of them. DMSO has been known to really help with inflammation and pain. And so in this product, we added that to it along with 16 essential oils. And everybody's loving the new product. We test market everything. We blind test to 250 people when we make a new product to see how that product works, to see what the response is, to see if there's any allergic reactions, things of that nature. So far, we, knock on wood, we're just having tremendous reports from it. That will be on the website in about 30 days.
Is there any good known effects in any brain disease?
In what?
In brain disease, do you think it works? Like Alzheimer's, anything like that?
Yes, 100%.
Really?
100%. Especially Parkinson's disease.
Oh yeah.
Michael J. Fox Foundation, we've worked with a little bit on CBG. Cannabidiol has been known to help reduce the tremors from Parkinson's disease.
They do. It's proven.
Proven. And by research, by medical research, medical data. The reason why you don't hear this out in the public all the time is because first, we can't make any medical claims as companies. We can't tell you this is what the study says. We could guide you to the study, but we cannot even publish that study on our website. The FDA will not allow us to do that. So they want the big drug companies to, again, monopolize on everything. And that's okay. I understand what they're doing.
Right.
But there's enough people out there. There's enough blogging going on now. There's enough research going on. If you type in CBG and Parkinson's disease, all these different papers will come up. All these different things will come up. If you type CBD and headaches, CBD migraines, Crohn's disease and marijuana, all these different studies that have been out there, these papers come up. And I love Google. I am so happy we live in that age of technology where it is at our fingertips to gain this knowledge from everywhere right now that they can't really just close the book on it and say, oh, it doesn't exist. It exists, it works, but we have to get the information from a third party. We cannot make the claims.
I am assuming it's really good for arthritis, right?
100% arthritis. I get emotional when I talk about this one. I was at a function in San Francisco 3 years ago. And I had this young woman run up to me and hug me. And I didn't know who she was. And she said, I want to tell you, I love you and I thank you. And I said, well, for what? Because I'm a little nervous. And she said, about 4 years ago, I got your topical and I gave it to my grandma. And my grandma had such bad arthritis in her fingers that she couldn't play the piano anymore. And I loved listening to her play the piano, and she couldn't do it. Her fingers hurt so much. And after using your topical for a few weeks, after I gave it to her for a few weeks, I walked into her house and I heard the piano.
Really?
First time in years. So
That's rewarding.
that's better than any dollar in the bank. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I
That's
can't.
what you work for.
Yeah. So yeah, for arthritis, 100%. I tell people, and just like I told your wife, I tell people, if it does not work, call me on my personal phone and tell me it does not work so I could find something that will help you. That's my philosophy. I've got to figure out something that will. Luckily, I found something here in this jar that I've been making since 1978 that has been tried and true. And tens of thousands of people have written me and telling me, thank you.
Really?
Thank you. So now it's all about, okay, how do I get the information out there more? Like I said, you're my very first podcast. I did an interview for 5 minutes with somebody else a year ago and felt uncomfortable. I want to thank you very much for making me feel comfortable. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. And you have to put this out there, man. You can't just be on the dark. It has to be out there. You have to get on more of these frequently.
Yeah.
It's really about them. It's not about you or how you feel. It's about all these people.
Yeah.
And how they benefit and help others, because each person that sees you helps others around them. Imagine how this can expand the more you go out there and put the word out there. Let me ask you another question. Is there any known medical effects for the COVID-19 virus?
Interesting. Interesting you should say that. Israel's actually studying it right now. And it's saying that cannabinoid therapy can possibly help with the lung therapy, opening back up the lung tissues.
Oh, really?
It's not been studied enough yet. I'm going to say that straight up front. But it's there. They're studying it in Israel. And I will check back with you in a few months or in about 4 weeks when they have a definitive on it. But because the cannabinoids, because the anti-inflammatory inflammation around the lung tissue, it's been known to help right now, but it's not proven 100% science.
Maybe you can come up with something like the hydrochloroquine CBD.
There you go. You never know. You never know. I mean, it's like I wrote the book, and when we first opened up, I told you about the book 101 Know the Facts. It's a free ebook for all your listeners. And once they sign up for the ebook, they'll get some coupons. This week we're having I did the 5 days of Halloween sale where I'm just going to tell you on Saturday, if you sign up for the book, you're going to get an email. Saturday, I went insane. 50% off everything in the store.
Really? Guys, sign up. We're going to put a link.
Yeah. So
if you don't have the link, if you can't download it today, I'm going to put Hal's information at the end. So send him an email or give him a call.
Yeah, sign up for the book.
Yeah,
sign up for the ebook. Then immediately you'll be on our list. We'll email you the coupons and things like that when we have some special events. And I put out a newsletter every Monday. The newsletter is about what's going on as far as research and development. It's tips to stay healthy, and it's usually an item that's on sale. Everything I do is focused to help people.
Thanks. It's very generous of your part. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Share that. And let me ask you, how about the relation between this and the immune system?
Okay. Certain cannabinoids, because we have an endocannabinoid system, so certain cannabinoids have been known to help boost the immune system. But I would suggest to boost the immune system, you're not just looking at CBD only. A lot of people's mistake is saying CBD is the cure-all wherewithal, or marijuana or cannabis is the cure-all wherewithal. It's not. You have to look at everything that you put in there. So if you're doing CBD to help your immune system, or you're doing cannabinoids and terpenes to help your immune system, I would add some zinc in there. I would add some elderberry in there. I would add some vitamin D, vitamin C, all this stuff in there together because what that's going to do is those are natural plants that boost the immune system. It's not just one thing. Everybody's looking for a magic bullet out there. Everybody's thinking,
Yeah.
When the weed industry, when the cannabis industry boomed out and all these people came out with penny stocks and everybody started to get rich and then people went broke, okay? Because a lot of it was pump and dump, and I'm going to say it just like it is. As I was part of a few, not the pump and dump companies, but I was part of some of the reputable companies with Gary Johnson, the guy who ran for president on the Libertarian ticket, Senator Mike Gravel, Judge Jim Gray. They were all on a board that I was on to help people at one time. But the bottom line is that CBD alone is not what it's all about. It has to be with other plants. It has to be with other essential oils. I mean, CBD alone will help definitely. I mean, you put it in a drink and you mix it up, it's going to help you a little bit, bring down, make you calm, or help you with inflammation, things of that nature. But it's not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is bring in the other plants, especially for the immune system. For the immune system, elderberry, manuka honey, all this stuff has been known to really help right now. So this is what we have to look at. You'll see in my newsletter that I don't just talk about CBD or a CBD product. I talk about all types of wellness products out there because that's who we are. We're wellness. We have to figure out what's going to help us the most, especially in this day and time. You know, our cases are rising, whether you believe it or not, you know, with what we have with COVID-19. You know, I've lost 7 people now that I know of.
Really?
That are in my life that I had to go through to drive-by funerals for the first 5 of them. It reminded me of the AIDS epidemic back in the 70s when we had to pick which funeral we went to, of which friend. I take this very seriously. You know, wear a mask, social distance, you know, proper hygiene, and to build your immunity. Definitely build your immunity, but do it right. Don't just think if I get CBD, that's going to build my immunity. We do a tincture, by the way, that's called immunity. The tincture has terpenes in it that are known from other plants to help boost the immune system. Okay? It helps boost it, but it's not the CBD or CBG or CBN that's going to boost it alone. It's everything in those terpenes, everything in that formula that makes that tincture rock solid for you to put a few drops underneath your tongue every day to help build that immune system.
Now, and your company, Leaf of Life Wellness,
Yep.
Have you created brands inside the company?
Yeah, I actually have. Leo's Wicket, my father's name was Leo.
Yeah.
And it's named after him. Leo's Wicket is beard oil, beard balm, men's peppermint facial toner, and a muscle gel. My wife's brand that we created together for her is Dr. Shu Yin's. Dr. Shu Yin's has a muscle cream, has Lang Lang and ginger. Ginger is a natural anti-lymphatic. And Lang Lang makes you feel good. It's a natural good energy. So we do a Lang Lang and ginger Dead Sea salt from the Dead Sea that you put a couple of scoops in your bathtub. We do Lang Lang and ginger hand and body lotion she does. She does Lang Lang and ginger massage oil. And that's excellent stuff there too. She's also going to be doing a same recipe as the beard oil. I will tell you this, because I started selling my beard oil all of a sudden to people who own bikini waxing services, Brazilian waxing. And I was like, why are you buying those? I don't get it. They said, because the wax irritates that skin. We use your beard oil because it has the frankincense, which is an antifungal, antibacterial, and it heals it that much faster. And I was like, really? Good to know. Thank you. So my wife's going to come out with that type of oil for after bikini waxing. Eva, my mom's name was Esther. So Eva was my grandmother. So Eva's is going to be a high-end skincare line. Those products have not been in the marketplace yet. It's a face mask. It's a eye and lip conditioner, lip serum, things of that nature. I've got over 125 recipes, 150 recipes that I've developed.
Is there any product such as something for the itchiness?
For itching?
Yeah. Any product that
Like itching, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Itching like in shingles or itching like in a bug bite?
I don't know, because people buy these products in the pharmacy for itchiness.
Yeah, some of it's for shingles. When people get shingles, they get itchy. The balm will work good for that. Okay, it will help. It helps with the itching. Bug bites, we are looking at doing something for that, just like we're doing a tattoo balm right now. Everybody's asking me for a tattoo balm to help heal tattoos faster. Again, it's not just the cannabinoid, it's what goes in that product to help heal that tattoo faster. And then the cannabinoids help infuse it that much better.
Now tell me, as a scientist and as a researcher, as a businessman, tell me a very huge, unrealistic goal that you want. Let's say some type of product that you want something to solve something specifically. What would that goal be? You want to solve what? Maybe it takes a lot of research, maybe a few more years, but what is that big goal of solving you have?
The first thing that comes to mind is cancer.
Very good.
Because I lost my mom and dad to cancer. And because I've seen, even though chemotherapy and radiation is what they use now with different cocktails, I've seen the damage that does on somebody. I've seen also what a cannabis suppository, how that could help with brain cancer.
Really?
Yeah, so it helps. But the research, I'd love to see more research for cannabis into cancer, cannabis into Parkinson's disease, cannabis into Alzheimer's because of the plaque that grows on the brain. These are things that I'd love to study more, and I'd love to be in the lab more for, and eventually I will. But my biggest goal, my biggest dream would be to one day be part of, or know that science has finally caught up to plant science and found stuff that actually can help reduce the tumors without radiation, without chemotherapy. These are the things that we really need to know. It's difficult out there. The second book I wrote, the first book was CBD 101, Know the Facts. The second book was cannabinoids, Know Your Cannabinoids, because there's so many different cannabinoids out there. I'll get you a link for that one too. And that's my gift for your viewers and listeners. It's real difficult. I'm not trying to be on a down note here, because you hit a nerve, because I just want to see people pain free also. I want to see people not addicted to Vicodin, Oxycontin. I don't want to see that. I'm tired of seeing people die because they ate too many pills. You know?
You blow out your liver, your stomach.
Yeah, and there's so many naturopathic ways to really, really help the body get rid of this pain, get rid of these conditions. And that's what we have to look at. And that's the journey I'm on, is to enlighten people,
How about, since the medical industry is a little bit in the fence here, because it's not really up to them, have you tried connecting with chiropractors?
Yeah, we are actually doing that right now.
They may be right in your alley to try your products.
They are, and I actually hired, because we do wholesale. I do wholesale, retail, private labeling, all this stuff, private formulation. I hired somebody. We just built the wholesale website. It's finished now. And he's actually starting to make calls to chiropractic offices in the state of California tomorrow to get them on board to carry our product with a money back guarantee for them. You know, they don't like it, they can return it, and I'll refund their money, because it helps their patients recover. One thing we found is it helps the recovery time if for physical therapy. So you're in physical therapy, you're going through the pain, they're stretching you, they're trying to get you back into motion, and you leave and you're in pain, you use the topical, you're able to make that next appointment that much faster.
And the big advantage for them, for chiropractors, is that they can buy your product and sell themselves to the patients.
That's right.
Even from the doctors that they have to send you to the pharmacy, right?
Yeah.
Chiropractors can sell them themselves.
100%.
That
100%.
can be your biggest market, actually.
And they can make an extra 20 to 30,000 a year just selling that product.
Exactly. At least, yes.
Yeah. Massage therapists, same thing. We make a CBD broad spectrum hemp massage oil that actually helps reduce the muscle strain, you know, with camphor and other essential oils in there.
Because the percentage of people that go with pains to the chiropractor is much higher than the ones that go to regular doctors for any type of issue. But the ones that go to chiropractors are mostly about pain.
Yeah. So I've hired my first person, my first associate, to start making those calls tomorrow, because somebody told me, well, why don't you get on the phone? Why don't you call, 50 people a day and do this? When do I have time to be in the lab? When do I have time to figure out what the next product is? When do I have time to make the product for somebody? So it's all these choices we have to make. So did hire somebody, and we'll see how it works, and my fingers are crossed.
I would suggest also to add to that you create like a special script to call chiropractors and hire a virtual assistant, which they charge very little for the amount of calls they can make in an hour. And then you tell them what the thing is, what this is about. Here's a script. This is what you do with the objections. These are the prices. These are the websites, and get a virtual assistant to make all the call. You have a lot of people willing and able to do this from Philippines, from India, and for very low costs, you can have a huge reach. Only chiropractors, and probably you can buy these lists of chiropractors.
Yeah,
all around the nation.
Yeah, a beautiful idea, wonderful idea. Thank you.
Absolutely, you should do that. I think. And I'm all about business as well, because you have to live. But I mean, you have to find what your purpose is and then follow it. But at the same time, it makes your lifestyle, it makes your earnings while helping others.
It allows me to give more products away.
Exactly. The more you make, the more you can give away. Yes.
100%.
That's how abundance opens its doors for you. You start giving, and you start receiving more. The more you give, the more you receive. And one of the last questions before we wrap it up. Are there any counter effects in all this?
None that we have found. We have just recently found some people who are allergic to cannabinoids. They have an allergy.
Really? Oh, right. Maybe.
But it is not a death sentence. It's not a poison. It's more itching. It's more nauseousness, feeling more uneasy. And we're doing research on this right now. One of the things that we had found when we first heard about this is we had to go back to the growers and ask the growers what they were using on their plants. And a lot of the growers were using a pesticide, insecticide called Eagle 20. Now, Eagle 20 is legal to use in the agricultural field, and it's legal to use on plants, and it washes off before you eat and ingest the plant. But with people smoking cannabis, it does not wash off. It stays on there. That's one of the reasons why legal cannabis and why it is so important to make sure products are third-party tested for pesticides, heavy metals, insecticides, anything that could be poisonous. Because you pick that plant, you cure that plant, you go to the dispensary, you get that bud, you roll it into a joint, and you slide it and you smoke it. Nobody knows, unless that plant's been tested, what's on that plant. So side effects, yes. Regulations, very, very, very important. I will say this 100%. There has to be regulations on all products, proper testing to make sure there's nothing in that product that's going to do you harm, from topicals to smokables to ingestibles all the way through.
Yeah, the thing with allergies, nothing to do with the product. I'm also allergic to almonds. Doesn't mean that almonds should be taken out of the market.
Yeah.
It's a negative thing. So
Yeah.
anybody can find allergies. That's fine. Now, another thing that I wanted to add to you and to your business is that since you have these big goals of continuing the research about this and get into bigger goals such as cancer treatments, I think that you should find an investor that wants to pay for this research, which is going to take other heights for you as a company. I mean, if you're going for such a big thing, I think you're going to have to change a lot of the game that you do right now, and it's going to require more capital. And I think there are out there more. There's more capital than ideas. If you can present this and pitch it in something short, and you can even make a special pitch just to capture investors that want to pay for this research. I mean, there's research you can do also with government funded, but since it's this particular topic, maybe some investors will go in. If let's say, imagine that you come up with a cancer solving type of product, right? That's going to enhance your business like incredibly. An investor would want to be part of that.
Yeah.
So
Very,
I think you should present it.
Yeah.
Maybe a guy says, okay, I'm going to put this amount of money a year for you just to do cancer research. You can have a whole team based on that money, a whole new team only doing that. The best people suited for that research.
Exactly. It has to be the best, and I agree with you. It's things that my mind's open to. I'll tell you that right now.
You should. That's one of the ways to that. And last but not least, what is the future for Leaf of Life Wellness? How do you see this company?
Yeah.
And what do you see? Do you see that this industry has reached already its limits, or you think there's much more room to keep improving still?
There's much more room. There's room for competition. There's room for more research. There's room for more products out there. We've only hit the tip of the iceberg as far as people understanding cannabinoid therapy. Once people start to really understand cannabinoid therapy, it's limitless in vitamins, in supplements, in everything out there. So where do I see us going? I see us going full force in cannabinoid therapy and wellness, general wellness for people.
So I'm glad that there's much room for improvement here. So thank you very much, Hal. I want to make sure that the information here is correct.
Yep.
If you have anything, any questions, any comments, please deliver your comments or questions to leafoflifewellness@gmail.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is wonderful. It has a lot of good things, even things that are related to this, like meditation. The channel is Leaf of Life Wellness. There's Hal's number directly. And if you want to know more about all this, feel free to go to leafoflifewellness.com. Let me see if I can pull out here a link to your free ebook. If we can't pull it out, maybe you just can communicate with Hal and he'll send you a link.
Yep.
Let me see. I think I have a link here.
If not, I could copy a link and put it in the chat if you like.
You can put it in the chat. Yes. And so make sure you guys go back a little bit and you can take a screenshot of this. And if not, let me see if I can pull out a whiteboard here. Let me see if you see what I'm putting here.
Yep.
There you go. The best case scenario, just take a screenshot here. Here is the link to Hal's book for you guys. Free book.
Yep. That's a link to the first free book, Know the Facts. As I say, weed out the bullshit, no pun intended.
Mhm.
And if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call anytime. And then once you sign up for that book, you'll get that book sent to you immediately. And then also know that you will be sent a coupon for this weekend for 50% off the entire our entire e-store.
Thank you very much. That's very generous of you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you all for being here with us today. It's been an honor, a very inspiring story. I think that has much more room to grow further. And I want to congratulate you for your mission. It's empowering.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Blessings.
See you all soon, guys. Thanks for being here.